Good morning, Internet. This is Alex does Sudokus, and it is Friday, the 16th of October 2020, and we have another medium New York Times Sudoku for you today. So, let's have a look. So, I'm gonna go at kind of normal pace today, so I'm not gonna go too in depth, but I'm gonna kind of give some quick explanations about what I'm doing and see how we get on. So with Snyder notations, we basically put in 2 pencil markings at a time within any cages. If we have more than 2 candidates for a number, then we'll leave it alone, and the idea is to keep the grid as clean as possible, I guess. But generally speaking, Snyder notation is enough to solve most of New York Times Sudokus, so let's just get on with it. So I can pencil mark in a 2. I just went through all the 1s and I can't see anything. So moving on to 2s, so a pair of 2s up there, and I think that's it. Let's have a look at 3s then. Well, 3, because we've only got 1 of them. And it doesn't do anything, so what about 4s? Well, I've got 4 confirmed over here because of these 2 4s. And looking further with these 4s, I can lock another 4 up here. And these 2 4s lock a 4 up here because of that 4. And these 2 4s locks a pair of 4s down there. So that was quite a nice little chain reaction. These 2 4s locks a pair of 4s over there. And this 4 and that's 4 locks a pair of 4s there. So all the 4s are pencil marked in. Useful to know. 5s. Got 2 5s, but they don't interact very nicely. So let's move on to 6s. Again, it's a single number, so 3 and 6 are weak. So just go into bear that in mind. It may be useful later. And 6 doesn't do anything. So let me... Pardon me. I was going to say let me just sneeze before I move on. 7 is locked in here because of these 2 7s locking out these 2 columns. And these two 7s locks a pair of 7s over there. This 7 and that 7 locks a pair of 7s over here. And I think that's it for the 7s. So these 2 7s form what's called a pointed pair. Pointed pairs basically look in a direction. So in this case, it looks horizontally. It basically rules out any possible, the entire row as possible candidates for that number. So, and the logic is that basically, in this cage, the 7 can only go in this column. This row. So therefore, no other cages can contain the same number in the same row. Otherwise, you'll basically lock the 7 away from this row, well, for the entire cage, basically. So, basic logic there. So let's see, I can't do anything else with 7s, so let's put an 8 in here because of this 8 and that 8. So that further locks an 8 up there because of these 8s and these 8s. So what else can we do? Well, we can lock another pair of 8s there because of that 8 and that 8. So again, that forms a pointed pair, ruling out the 8s from this row in all the other cages. And I've got 8 locking down the columns, so an 8 must go here. So the only other possible 8s are down here with this 8 and these 2 8s locking out the rows. So what about 9s? So first of all, 9s are locked in these 2 cells because of that 9 and that 9. So the reason the 9 can't go in this cell is because the 7 and 8s live in the same 2 cells. So whatever the situation, wherever the 7 is, the 8 has to live in the other cell. So this is what we call a matching pair. Matching pairs are useful in kind of like reducing the number of possible available cells, playable cells within, in this case within the cage, but also since they're lined up, it locks out the 7 and 8 from, it basically means no other numbers on the row or within the cage can go in these 2 cells, basically. So the 9 can't go in there anymore. So these 9s also locks a pair of 9s down here because they act as pointed pairs. And I've got 9 ruling out row 9 and another 9 ruling out column 9 as well. So what else can I do with 9s? I've got another pair of 9s there because of this 9 and that 9. So that's one round of notations done. We haven't done too many pencil markings, but it does look like we've got some areas that we can explore. So what I like to do after I've done a round of pencil marking is look at any weak areas, and I consider an area weak when within a cage, a row or a column there are only 4 or less numbers, but for the sake of ease in this puzzle I'm just going to stick to 3 candidates at a time, so 3 or below. But I think over time you can work your way up and be able to do more with, for instance, on this row, you can consider it the quadruple weak area and try and attack it. Attacking is just my way of saying trying to make something of it. So for instance, I can see there's a pair of 5s in these 2 cells and a pair of 3s in those 2 cells, because of the 3 seeing into this and a 5 seeing into that. And I've got 6 remaining as well. So whilst under Snyder notations, you generally only pencil mark in 2 candidates at a time, but there are times when it's kind of pointless not to pencil mark something in, because I think the point for me for Snyder notation is to keep the grid as clean as possible, reducing the overall number of pencil markings you're going to make. And when you're down to 3 numbers, there's no way you're going to have a really cluttered cell. Sorry, I don't know, got something stuck in my throat. So I think pencil marking in a triple within a cage is still quite clean. So that's why I decided to do that. So what else can I do? So these 3s essentially locks, creates a pointer pair, so it locks another pair of 3s over there. And incidentally, if I stay in this cage, this pattern is always quite useful whenever you have 4 cells in a corner locked off. So even though there's an additional 5 here, you've basically got a single row and a single column in this cage, and quite often you find pointed pairs. So as an example, that 1 forces a pointed pair of 1s there as well. So this actually locks a 1 up there, because I've got a 1 looking into this column and a pointed pair of 1s locking these 2 cells, and I've got 1 locking this cell. So 1 is resolved, and the power of Snyder notation will be at play here when you erase a candidate by filling in a number. So when I place the 1, I've erased a 2. And since the rule of thumb with Snyder notation is that when you place a number, when you erase a candidate even, you've only got 1 candidate left, and that has to be the number basically. So I can confidently place the 2 in there. But we're going to look at the 1 and 3 now, because just as the 7 and 8 as a matching pair rules out the 9 being in this cell, the 1 and 3 has the same property, because if 1 goes here, 3 has to go there, whereas if 1 goes here, 3 has to go there. So neither cell can contain any other numbers. So let's take out the 9. So again, I've just erased a pencil marking, so that confirms the 9 in the other cell. So what can this 9 do? Well, this 9 sees into this candidate. So again, I've erased a candidate, so that locks in another number. So what else can I do? Well, I can lock a pair of 9s up here. I can also lock, oh no, not 3s. 3s are in here. So what else can I do? I can lock a 5 in this cell, because this 5 sees into those 2 cells. So these 2 are actually 6s and 7s. Sorry, 6s and 9s. And the next thing I like to do is fill in this number, because I've only got 1 playable cell left in this cage, with the 1 and 3 locking out those 2 cells. So this has to be a 6, and the 6 sees into that cell, ruling out the 6 from here. So the 6 has to go, oh no, the 6 can still go in those 2 cells. But so there are 2 ways of looking at this. In this column, we've only got 1 number left, so it has to be the 5. The other way is, well, I've got a 3-6 pair now, so the 5 can't go in that cell anymore. So either way, that confirms a 5. So that's a quick demonstration of, like, sometimes multiple logic can give you the same solutions in a puzzle, so good to bear that in mind. So whenever I place a number, I like to see what effects it has as well. So this 5, working with that 5 locks another pair of 5s over there. So this kind of additional pencil markings that I can put in. This 6 doesn't do... Oh yeah, this 6 locks a pair of 6s over there. Because the 7 and 8s are ruled out due to being a matching pair. And once this cell is ruled out as a 6, then 6 have to go up there basically. So now they form a pointed pair of 6s. Along with that 6 rules out rows 4 and 6. And I've got a 6 in column 2, so I've got another pair of 6s over there. So making some headway now. So what we can do now is pardon me. I suppose we can continue looking at weak areas because we have another weak area of 3 numbers, another weak area of 3 numbers on a row. So let's have a look at that. What can they be? Well, they can be 3, 7, 3, 2 and 7. So what we want to do is look for the numbers 2, 3 and 7 in these 3 cells by looking up or within the cage. So if you look up and down, there's nothing there. Look up and down, I can't see any 2 or 7s. Or 2, 3 or 7s. Sorry, I'm saying 2s and 7s because when I look in this cell, I can see a 2, I can see a 7. Or if I just look within the cage, I've already pencil marked in the 7s and I've got 2 there. Sometimes you have to look for pencil markings as well, either from a pointer pair or from the candidates being filled in within the cage. So either way, 2s and 7s are ruled out of this cell, and I'm looking for 2, 3 and 7s. 2, 3 and 7s are the only cells that can go into these 3 cells. And if this one can't be a 2 or 7, it has to be a 3. So we've just placed another 3. So now we have 2 3s to play with now. This 3 doesn't do anything special for us. It doesn't give us any additional numbers, any additional candidates for 3s. But it does lock another pair of numbers in this cage. Because 7 and 8s are ruling out those 2 cells, so there are 2 cells left. I've got a pair of 6s, but I also have a pair of something else, so they have to be 5s in this case. So let's put them in. So that forms another pointed pair of 5s. So the 5s looks over there. I've got another 5 down here, a 5 in column 2, so that forces the 5s to be in there. So now we have another matching pair. We can pencil mark in a 1 and 3 if we're careful, because if we look at this row, we've got 7 and 8, 5 and 6, so those 4 cells are ruled out. We've actually only got a pair of cells left. But on New York Times Sudoku, I don't like to pencil mark in this 1 and 3 on the off chance that it will confuse me later, basically. So remember, what we like to do is we like to pencil mark in numbers a pair at a time within any cages. So if I put in a 1 and 3 there, although on the row, I've pencil marked in a pair of 1 and 3s, within the cage, I've only pencil marked in one number of the multiple candidates, because 3s can go in any of these 3 cells right now, so it can confuse things later on. Although, I can pencil mark in the 1s, because the 1s here actually locks a pair of 1s there anyway. Bearing in mind that cell is out of play because it's part of a matching pair. So that forms a pointed pair of 1s. So what effects does it have? Well, that 1 and a pointed pair of 1s locks the 1 in this column. And I've got 1 ruling out row number 8. So that is still useful. Anything else I can do? In this cage, I've also got a pair of 7s locked in here. In fact, on that row, I've only got 7s and... what else have I got left? 7s and 2s remaining, so let's pencil mark those in. So this is something that's moderate in kind of difficulties, but looking at the pair of 7s, it's worth looking up and down and see if there are any additional properties. So looking horizontally, I've already got 7s pencil marked in over there, or 7 confirmed. But if I look up and down, I'll find another pair of 7s down here. And they share the commonality that they're both locked in columns 1s and 3. So that means, of these 2 cages, 7 can't live in column 2. Well, there has to be a 7 on column 2 somewhere in this puzzle, otherwise it wouldn't work. So that means the 7s must be in column 2 in the remaining cage. So whenever you do pencil markings, it's worth scanning around both as a pointer pair or in the opposite direction. See if you've got the same numbers locked in the same columns, and in this case, same columns. Or if you're looking horizontally, you want to see if they're on the same rows, basically. So since they're in the same columns, it helps me unlock another pair of 7s over there, which isn't all that helpful right now. So I've got 3 candidates left in this cage. They are 1, 4. What are they? 1, 4, and 3. So I've got to have a 3 in one of these 3 cells. I could pencil mark them in, but I'm not gonna, because the cage overall is a little bit empty. There aren't many confirmed number at the moment, so I don't want to add additional clutter unless I have to. So instead I'm going to look at this triple on the row and see if I can do anything with it. So what numbers am I missing? I'm missing 2s, 3s, and 5s. Okay, so looking down, up and down, I've got 2 on this in this cell, but I can't see a 3 or a 5. I can't see any of the 3 numbers, so I can't actually deduce any confirmed number yet. But if 2 can't live there, well, these 2 cells are within the same cage, so they're actually forming a pointed pair of 2s. So that's useful in 2 ways. One is, well, it's a pointed pair looking that way, so working with the 2s, it locks a pair of 2s on row 3, but I've already got 2 on column 8, so that confirms a 2. So that further locks a 2 down here because of these 2s. The other thing it does is, well, 2s are locked in columns 1 and 3. And remember what we did with the 7s? I've got 2s locked in 1 and 3, columns 1 and 3 as well, in another cage. So 2s must live in column 2 in the bottom cage. And in fact, the 2 that we just placed in actually allows me to confirm that the 2 lives here. So that's just solved another 2 by just understanding how kind of like pointer pairs and looking at kind of shared, I don't know if there's a name for this technique, this strategy, but basically, yeah, it allowed me to place an additional 2. I gotta give it a name sometime. Okay, so does that give me any new information? Well, this 2 here has allowed me to form another triple on this column. So one hint, one tip that I like is I'm looking for 3 numbers, but I already know 2 of them are 5 and 6 because I've got pencil marking of 5 and 6. As long as I am careful with my pencil markings and I'm cleaning them up correctly, then I know that the 5 and 6 have to be 2 of the 3 numbers. So I don't have to look for 5 and 6 anymore. I just need to look for the 3rd number, which is a 1. So I'm looking for 1, 5, and 6 in these 3 cells. This cell sees a 5, but it doesn't see 5. It doesn't see 1 or 6. This one sees a 1, but it's already pencil marked in as 5 or 6 anyway. This one sees a 1, so it could be a 5 or 6. Doesn't see any other numbers, so I can't resolve this triple yet either. So that's unfortunate. Anything else? Well, we have another triple here because remember that the 5 and 6 are ruling out these 2 cells, so they're no longer in play. So I should have a 1, 3, and 4 triple in these 3 cells. Can I make anything of it? I can tell you no, I can't, because remember 3 can live in any of these 3 cells, so yep, I can't do anything with that. Okay, so where else should I look? One thing I can do now is I can do some more pencil markings actually, that may be useful. So let's have a look. In fact, I can already see this is actually a 1. I should have noticed that when I placed that 1 earlier, or maybe when I placed that 2, I don't know. So typically I think I focus on the same numbers, but sometimes it has an effect of other numbers as well. So in this case, the 1s are locked in here, so these 2 1s now lock a 1 down here, and that just erased a 1 pencil marking, confirming the remaining candidates as a 1. So those are the only 1s left. Okay, has it unlocked anything else? it's kind of unlocked a 5 and 6 pair, but I still don't know where they live. So, any other triples? Not that I can... Oh, hang on. I've got a 6, 7, and 9 on this row. So, did I have that before? I don't know. I can see a 6 there, but no 9. So, this can be 7 and 9. So, it's not super useful. So, I think row-wise, we can't do anything else. So, let's look at the columns. Nope, I haven't got any weak areas. So yeah, let's continue to try and do some pencil markings. So twos are already locked down. Those are the only remaining twos. What about threes? Threes are locked in these cells. So they all triples. Not triples, but they kind of, they're not, there are 3 possible places for those threes. So fours. Can't see anything. In fact, I had already pencil marked in all the 4s, so I should have known that, you know, if I'm careful with my pencil markings, I should already have identified them. So, 5s are locked in these 2 cells because of that 5 and that 5. So that forms another pointed pair, but also in this row, I've ruled out those 2 cells to be playable, so there's only 1 number left in this cell. It has to be a 3. So also, do I have, I can't pencil mark in the 5s because they're in 3 possible locations. So does a 3 do anything? It locks the 3s down in that column, so that's not super useful. But it has formed a triple here, and that is useful. So think about what numbers can live here. They are 5, 6, and 7. So 5, 6, and 7 can't live in these cells. So I've just basically unlocked a 6 and a 7 because they can't live in those 2 cells. So that's a 7, that's a 6, and that has to be a 9 now because I just erased a 9. So that 9 forces another 9 in there. So in this case, I've only got 1 number left, and it's a 3. So even though I haven't pencil marked these in, because I suppose I could have pencil marked in the 7s, but the 5 and 6 share all 3 cells. So even without pencil marking them in, you can just kind of like mentally rule out those numbers and just wipe out any candidates along the way. Okay, so what else can I do? Let's see, I formed another triple over there, so they are 1, 4, and 9. So 9 within the cage actually rules out those 2 cells, so the 9 has to go down here, and that just ruled out a 4, so I can put that in, and that 4 just erased a 7, so I can confirm the 7 as well. So this 4 also rules out that pencil marking of 4, so 4 has to live here, and that just ruled out a 1, so 1 has to go there. And this one points at a 1-3 matching pair. So just a quick thing is, there's no point in me erasing the 1, confirming the 1 there, erasing a 3, and then confirming the 3. What you can do is, when you've got a number, part of a matching pair looking into the candidate, so I've got a 1 of the 1-3 pair looking into it, I can just deduce that that's a 3 and that's the 1 because they have to be the other way. So the 3 is now locked in there because of these 2 3s. So that 3 locks a 3 down here, and that 3 locks a pair of 3s in these 2 cells. So it may not be immediately obvious, but I've just formed a 3-4 pair within these 2 cells. So again, the rules of matching pair is that no other numbers can live in them, so the 8s can't live in there. So I've just confirmed another 8, and this 8 resolved the 7 and 8 over there, and that 7 just confirmed a 7 over there, and I can clean the pencil marking. So these are 5 and 6s. Not much point in pencil marking them in because I'm pretty sure I can solve them without doing that in a moment. So what else can I do? Well, this cell is confirmed as a 6 because that's the only number left within a cage. So now if I look over here, just one little hint. If you're looking at a row and the 2 cells remaining, if you only have like 2 or 3 cells remaining on a row or a column, and they live in the same cage, the remaining cells live in the same cage, you can basically, any numbers, any candidates, providing you're sticking with Snyder notation, so you only have 2 candidates at a time, anytime you have single candidate, that must be the confirmed number, because if the 9 could have gone into that cell, I would have pencil marked them in. So I suppose it doesn't have to be Snyder notation, but long as you've pencil marked in these candidates, all of these candidates within the cage, then that will be valid. So pencil marked in all the 9s in this cage and all the 5s in this cage. So that means 9 can't go there. So 9 must be here. And I've just erased the 5s, so 5 must go there. And that can't be a 9. So you can work out the logic yourself, but you know, I think my brief explanation kind of hopefully makes sense. So there's only 1 cell left in this cage, because the 3 and 4 forms a matching pair, ruling them out. So there has to be a 6. And on the column, I've only got 5 left up here, and there's only 1 cell left in here, must be a 6, and that rules out the 5 and 6 matching pairs, so 5 and 6 over there. Incidentally, these 2 cells, I've not cleaned up the pencil marking, so the 4 should have been cleaned up, so that's actually a 3 and 4. So sometimes when I find a chain, there are multiple things happening, and it's inevitable that you may miss some things, but it's not a huge problem long as you go back to them, really. So the 3 rules out the 3 and 6. I've clearly missed something over here, so let's have a look. That 6 unlocks the 5 and 6, so let's do that. And that 5 unlocks the 2 and 5, so, and this 2 unlocks the 2 and 7. And that is today's medium New York Times Sudoku with full explanation. So I hope that's useful. If it is, please leave a like and subscribe. Otherwise, I shall see you tomorrow. Bye.